Hello, everybody, and welcome back to our We Video Fall webinar series. My name is Ryan Kochevar, and I am We Video's Director of Customer Success Enablement. And I am very happy to be with you today and to be presenting this session all about We Video's next generation experience. As many of you know, if you've been attending these sessions or have been following our product updates and all of our social channels, you know that we have been working hard behind the scenes over this past year, but especially throughout the summer to improve not only the WeVideo experience generally, but to add our new next-gen editing space to our WeVideo for Schools product. And as many of you do know as well, that comes with the sunsetting of our existing, or one of our existing editing spaces, a WeVideo Classic. And so, my job today is to help you become familiar with WeVideo Next-Gen and what that experience and what that space is all about, to help you prepare to transition if you are still using Classic, or help you get started using our next generation space starting today and moving into the future. We've wanted to be sure that everything that you have done or that you want to do in WeVideo can still be done, no matter if you were working in Classic or if you are now working in the WeVideo next generation space. So today we're going to cover a lot of the new features, the new product spaces within next generation. I'm going to spend a lot of time in product demoing all of how you can get the most out of WeVideo for what you do in the classroom with your students, or what you do with your staff, or what you do personally in terms of multimedia creation. So we'll get started in just a second. I wanted to hit on a couple of housekeeping items today. For one, the presentation, this video, I should say, will be on demand for you after this session is over. So if you can't stay with us the whole time, or you are not able to attend live, this video will be available on demand for you to go back and watch again, to check something else out, you might have missed, or to go back and rewatch something that you were particularly interested in again. This video has been pre-recorded, but there is going to be a WeVideo representative in the chat answering questions you might have about the content that you see today. After this session is over, we will be sending a follow-up email, which will contain the recording of this session and this on-demand video link. You will also get the access to some resources I'm going to share in a deck with you today. Now, I know I mentioned that most of the time that we're together here in this session across the next, let's say 30 minutes, will be in product. I have put together some resources for you to access and continue your journey of learning our product and putting it into practice in your classroom. I will say that this webinar is being recorded and streamed live to you during Digital Citizenship Week. I joined my friends at Wakelet last week to talk all things WeVideo and digital citizenship. So as I go through some of the components of the next generation space, specifically when I get to that section on the assignment ideas library, I'm going to surface some activities for you all that if you are actively participating in Digital Citizenship Week, if you are looking for projects or activities to cultivate some digital citizenship skills with your students, we have some activities that are great for that. I will also share with you the Wakelet collection that we put together for the webinar we did last week that is useful for this week and beyond. I think a big learning of mine coming out of that webinar was that Digital Citizenship Week is great. It's a wonderful week of awareness and really focusing on cultivating those skills. But everything that happens after or before is equally important. And so we've developed a collection for you to get the most out of what you can do with both of our products during this week specifically, but also if you are teaching those digital citizenship skills. So using this opportunity, yes, to share with you all about NextGen, all about WeVideo, but also I will be focusing specifically on some activities around digital citizenship, since we are in the middle of Digital Citizenship Week. Okay, if you, again, if you have any questions, please leave them in the chat. We do have someone there to answer your questions. Again, if you miss anything, if you've jumped in midstream, or if you want to see something again, please make sure you go back and watch the replay after we're done today. If we, for some reason, were unable to answer your question or unable to provide you a sufficient response to something you were looking for, you can always email us success@wevideo.com. You can reach me, Ryan K, at wevideo.com. If you're looking for anything, and we will help you to the best of our abilities. If you want to view tutorial content, I'm going to send some of that with you today, and I'm going to send some of that to you in our follow-up email. But we have all of our tutorial videos on our YouTube channel, where you can subscribe and find us at youtube.com/@wevideo. If you would like to join our Facebook educators groups, there is the link to do that as well. Users post questions, help each other with answering those questions, provide project ideas. It's a great forum to get help if you need it. So please join our Facebook educators group as well. All right, we're going to dive in now, and we'll come back to any resources that I have for you at the end of today's demo. But we're going to start here with our agenda and just kind of go over what I'm planning to cover with you today. Now, again, like I said at the top, some of you have already been using the next generation space. A lot of you, after summertime, when you got back to the classroom this year, noticed that it was the space that you were dropped into, and understood that we were, doing away with Classic, so to speak, and that you wanted to get familiar with this space. So this is going to look familiar to you if you have been using NextGen. If you've still been using Classic, this is a really great opportunity for you to dip your toe in the next generation experience, try out what we offer in terms of our classroom tools, and in terms of our project space, and in terms of how your media is organized and using groups and activating real-time collaboration. I'm going to go through all of those components of NextGen to help you feel comfortable using this space in your classroom for your own work or work with your students. But I do first want to start by jumping into Classic to show you how to migrate your projects from Classic to the NextGen experience. And while we will be doing that for you when we deprecate Classic, you might want to continue right now working on projects you had been working on in Classic and work on them in NextGen. So let's jump in. This is the dashboard in an admin account. I do have a teacher account prepared to show you because it does look a little bit different, but admin looks very similar to the way a teacher account looks in Next Generation. So I'm going to start here, and I'll move over to a teacher account. So in order to migrate your projects, right, from Classic to NextGen, I'm going to navigate to Classic from the drop-down menu. Now, there might be reasons why you are continuing to use Classic until the features that you utilize every day are migrated to NextGen. So if you are someone who's utilizing the simplified editor with young learners, that might be a reason you're still using Classic. If you're producing a news show, or you're running the morning announcements in which your students each create edits in a shared project, and then you as the teacher combine the edits into one project at the end, you could find yourself still utilizing Classic for that. I will show you some workarounds to shared project collaboration, and show you how to make use of the tools we have here to do what you need to do. But I just wanted to point out that there may still be reasons why you're using Classic, and also to tell you that before we deprecate Classic or remove it as an access point to you, we will have those features that you use every day migrated to NextGen before we do that. So if you're using the simplified editing experience, if you're using combined edits, or for whatever other reason you might be using Classic that you don't feel like we have in NextGen, I'm hoping to either show you that it does exist there, or it will be there before we we remove that space entirely. So just wanted to let you all know that so that you feel more comfortable adopting this space. Okay, so I want to jump over to Classic and I'm going to transfer my projects. Now, I will show you when I get back to NextGen that the projects that I move are going to be organized a little bit differently in next generation. That has kind of tricked people up, not being able to feel familiar with where you can find your stuff can be anxiety inducing when using a software product. And so I just want to make sure that you know that nothing gets lost in that transfer. It's just organized a little bit differently and appears in a different space than you might be used to if you've been utilizing Classic. So here are all of the projects I've started in Classic. Really, when I joined WeVideo, we were just on the beginnings of our journey into next generation. So I've been using next generation for quite some time. So I haven't really created a ton of projects in Classic, but I have these projects here. Now, I will say that any project or any edit within a project that you have finished or exported will already be available in next generation. In one of those tabs on the sidebar that I will show you when we jump back over there is specifically related to exports, and will have exports that you have, videos you have finished or exported from anywhere in the product, from Classic, from classes, from projects. So just want you to know that your content, your exports will all appear in that exports tab. So this is just moving projects that might be in progress, edits that might be in progress. So if I have a project with only one edit, so this is the shooting gallery project. I had my friend John Cripple came on for a webinar, and we did one of his projects for our users. And so we created an edit for that. And I'm going to transfer that project to NextGen. Now, this project only has one edit, so it's going to appear differently than a project that has multiple edits inside of it. So it's going to give me this prompt to transfer it. I'm going to select transfer. It's not going to be able to be transferred back. It's a one-way street, because once Classic is done, we're going to migrate all of these projects over for you. And so there isn't the ability for you, once you've moved it over, to move it back. So we'll go over and take a look at what that looked like after I've moved a project that has multiple edits. So I have this project here, which is webinar video edits, and I'm going to move that and transfer that to NextGen. So I'm going to select transfer, and that project is going to move. Okay. That's all I'm really going to show you about Classic today, since this is a webinar specifically related to our NextGen experience. Excuse me. So if I migrate back over to NextGen, if I navigate back over here and I select projects, we'll talk about uploads and exports in a little bit. I mentioned exports just a minute ago, but I'm going to navigate to projects, and we will come back here to learn how to create a project and look at the editor. But what I want to point out is a couple things. We have the webinar video edits project moved over as a folder, and that's because it has multiple video edits inside of it. So when I go in, click into the folder, these are all the edits that I have made to that project. Now, some of these I've exported, and some of these I have not. So if you look here, the Power of Digital Storytelling webinar, which we ran last spring, has I can select to edit, or I can select to view. And when I select view, this tells me that I have exported this already, okay? But it's still in this project folder, because I can continue to edit this project and create multiple exports within the same edit. So I will return to that when we get back to projects, but I just wanted you to let you know that all of the edits in a project are going to appear within this folder, and that's how it's organized, regardless of whether you've already exported that edit. This export will also appear in your exports tab here, which is all of the exports that you have. You can search here through your exports if you're looking for a specific title. You can search by project type. You can arrange in list view, and you can also arrange in tile view, just depending on how you prefer to organize your content. So I will come back and touch on this a little bit more, but I wanted to make sure that you knew kind of how that migration worked, right? Your edits are going to appear in the projects tab, regardless of whether you've exported them or not, but they will also appear, have already appeared in exports if you have finished them. And so that's an important distinction there, okay? The single project, which was the shooting gallery project, is most likely the name did not seem to transfer over, but I could view this here. And this was our shooting gallery project. So here was the example that I brought over from the classic space. And the point I wanted to make here was that if you have one edit, a single edit that you're transferring, it's going to come over and be organized by the last date you modified it. Okay, and it'll appear as a single tile in your project's space here. Okay, so the difference is multiple edits appear as folders, single edits appear just as one-off projects. Okay, so that's migrating projects over. What I'm going to do now is head over to, and I'll be back here to talk about projects, but I'm going to head into a teacher account now and talk about classes and assignment ideas. So again, over here on the sidebar, I have these, actually, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go back to classes and show you from the admin view how to create a class, because I already have classes created here, and I already have projects and assigned content that I want to show you what that looks like if you're not familiar with the classes flow. So here in my admin account, I have a number of classes that I've already created and have rostered with students. So part of the NextGen experience is offering classroom tools or the ability for you as a teacher to create a workspace for your students and for you to assign multimedia projects, to review those projects, to give comments to students about their projects, to track their progress, all within a self-contained classroom space. You can assign individual projects, you can assign team projects, and we'll talk about team projects a little more detail when we talk about real-time collaboration. But this, the idea of classes is for you to be able to see all of your students' work in one place, review it, interact with them, comment on their work, give them feedback, and have everything turned in and submitted within the same container. So think of your class as a container which all student work exists within, and anything that's exported is finished to you, the teacher, for your review. So this is a great way to share media across a project that you want all of your students to complete. So when I show you how we create assignments from scratch, after we take a look at the assignment ideas library, you'll notice that when in Classic, if you were using collaborative or shared projects and you were having a shared media folder to for your students to access that has suggested media that you would like them to use, Classes functions in the same way. So you can create an assignment, a multimedia assignment that you can then share media to your students, and all of your students will then have access to that media, both for individual and for team assignments. So if I wanted to create a class, excuse me, I could click add new class and click create class. A couple of things here. You're going to want to name it. So I'll just do a test webinar class. You can give a section and a grade as optional. You can also upload your own cover photo here and then click create. If you don't choose to do that, you'll get one of these pretty default video cover photos that will be a placeholder for you in case you wanted to come back and add one later. If I wanted to add students to my test class, I would go here. I would go to people, and then I would add students in a number of different ways. I could use a QR code in which they could access with a camera, either on a Chromebook, a laptop, or on their phone. I could, though I will say that the mobile experience is different than the desktop experience. So if you are using this in the classroom and you want them to have access to the editing experience on the browser, on the desktop app or the laptop app, I would suggest using the laptop or Chromebook camera to access the QR code. You can also download this QR code and send it to students You can use an invite link in which you send out, or you can use a class code. And then I'll click done. And once you've imported your students, they'll populate here. If you're Google Classroom users, you can import your roster right through Google Classroom by doing single sign-on, and then importing your Google Classroom rosters right into your WeVideo classroom. Okay. When you're ready, when your class is created, when your people are inside of it, which also means teachers or tech coaches or administrators, you can have co-teachers and they can use those same the same methods. You would just toggle over here for teachers. It'll generate a slightly different code, slightly different link, and a slightly different QR code. So teachers can be added as co-teachers and have access to create assignments, review assignments, leave feedback, comments, all that sort of thing. So that's a little bit different. So you want to get students is here and teachers is here. So select done here. And then I'll go back out into my classes and select a class where I have students and assignments already loaded in. So this is what I mean when I say all of your students are going to have access to the same assignment, the same media, the same directions and instructions that you want them to complete. So I only have 3 students in my test science class, but I've published a number of assignments. And the really cool thing about WeVideo classes is that you can review progress and know where students are in their creation journey or their timeline to submit this project. So you'll see who hasn't started it, who is in progress, and who's turned it in. So it looks like Jackson's turned it in and Alice is still in progress. So if I wanted to view Alice's progress, I could select view progress and it will take me into Alice's editor. Now, it's going to show me and give me the ability to add media or add audio or trim and crop or edit or do anything that maybe she's struggling with something. She doesn't understand where a feature is. I could show her in real time using her account by reviewing her progress and showing her where to find whatever it was that she was having trouble with. So the really cool feature here is the comment feature. If I comment in here, I could say, make sure you add an audio track. And I could select add. And when the student goes in to view their project, they'll be able to see this and resolve the comment or add something else to create a dialogue with you during the creation process. So you can add comments within the comments. And it's a really great way to, again, create the dialogue and the real-time feedback, the just-in-time feedback that your students might need to complete the activity that they're working on. So really cool feature, really great way of using. Now, I will say this also exists in our project space in collaboration, and I will show you that as well. But this within the classes feature, within creating a multimedia assignment, these comments are a great way to give that just-in-time feedback and get a response from your students. So that comment will exist as a little bubble here. If I just scrub a little bit down, there's this bubble here that they will use. If students are ready to turn this in, if they're finished, they would select the turn in button here, and that would reflect as a project that is turned in. If you click close here to get out of Alice's project, Jackson's project was done. I could go now review instead of view progress. I could review his video and play it. And I could do a few things here. I could save this to Drive as a video file or an audio only file. I could download it locally, or I could return it. And when I select return, I could give student feedback about why I was returning it, which is important for the students to understand what you want them to finish or fix or complete before resubmitting that assignment. If I returned this to Jackson, he would get a notification when he logged into his account. There would be a little red bubble on the assignment, and it would say that it had been returned, and it would provide your feedback on why it was returned. Okay, so I'm going to click done there. So again, and then we see here, John has not yet started theirs, so there would not be any way to view progress on that. So that's kind of like creating your classes. You're creating and publishing multimedia assignments, tracking progress, using that comments tool to provide feedback, and then being able to have all of your students' media here in one place, whether they're turned in, whether they're in progress, or whether they haven't started yet. So that's kind of an overview of classes. Now, before we get into assignment ideas, I do want to quickly go back to Ryan's science class and create an assignment from scratch to show you how to add media. So many of these assignments I have started from scratch, but also some of them I've added from the assignment ideas library, which I will show you as a teacher how to do and what assignment ideas are and what they come along with. But if I just wanted to create an assignment from scratch, I'd select create an assignment, and I'm dropped into my assignment designer. I'm going to add the basic info for my assignment. I'm going to add a name. I'm going to add a description. So a name would be self-reflection, reflect and connect. Describe one success and one thing you might do differently the next time you were asked to complete this task. Okay, very general, very, very broad. But this is just to illustrate what the assignment designer looks like and what you can do. You can also, with the rich text editor, so you can add hyperlinks here to supporting documents that maybe you have graphic organizers or mind maps that need to be completed before this video project was to be done. Maybe there's a storyboard template that you're adding. You can do that as a PDF, you can do that as a link, either a doc, PDF, sheet, whatever it is you're attaching. You can hyperlink that. You can also utilize a bulleted or a numbered list, and then bold and italics as well. You can change the project type. So you can do a video project, you can do a GIF project, or you can do a podcast project. And the difference is there is when the students open the editor, it looks differently for a GIF project and a podcast project and a video project. The tracks will look different. And for an audio podcasting project, it'll drop you into our audio tools before our video tools. Now, participation, you can add, it can be an individual assignment or a team assignment. And a team assignment is a collaborative assignment in which you can pre-assign your teams, as many as you think are necessary for your students. I always recommend, depending on the age of the students, 3 to 4, sometimes with our youngest learners, a pair is going to be just fine. It can get chaotic in the editor if there are more than, say 4 or 5 students working on a project at the same time. And that's part of our real-time collaboration tools. So when you create these team assignments, you add your students. So let's just say Alice, I'll put her on team 1. I don't know if there's going to be any other students. In team 2, I'll put Jackson and John. You can shuffle the assigned teams, which means it's just going to randomly generate students for you. You can search and assign. It'll tell you where they're assigned if they're not. You can switch teams. You can switch kids on different teams. And this is all in case you need that ability to really pre-select which groups your students are going to be a part of before you start the activity. You can also just create the team activity and not pre-assign teams and allow students to self-select their teams if that's an environment that you have created in your classroom. I've found as a 4th grade teacher that I was pre-assigning teams quite often for collaborative projects because I knew who worked well together or who I wanted to challenge to work together or who I knew would support one another or who who I wanted someone to work together, for a purposeful scaffold opportunity. And so, if I was using this, I would pre-assign my teams, but if that's not you, you can also have students self-select their teams as well. So I'm going to click save on team assignments. And then I can go down here, create a due date and time, add a cover photo. And this is where what I find is particularly powerful for these assignments is the ability to add media, either stock media from your computer, your Google Drive or your OneDrive, and add recorded media as well in the form of a screen capture, a webcam recording, or a dual screen and web recording. And this is really great because this you might want to record some a video that they need to watch before they complete the assignment, right? And you can do this using our screencasting, our screen recording tools, and add that to the shared media bin that all of your students will have access to when they go in to edit and create their project. So I would select done. And then when I'm ready, I can either save this as a draft or publish it. I'll just go ahead and publish it. I didn't add any media, so it's going to appear this way. To me, I also didn't add a cover photo, but you can see I did for this one. I'm going to go ahead now and view what this whole class looks like as a student. You saw earlier that I was able to jump into that editor and really play around in what the student was doing. Now I have the ability also to view this class as a student to see what it looks like from their point of view. Now, I'm going to show you a couple of things because I have a few projects started that are different project media types. So again, this team assignment here, if I jump in, it's going to give me what the editing experience looks like across all of our editors. This is the editor that you and your students will both use in your multimedia creation activities. If there were other students in here, because it's a team assignment, they would appear little dots, much like a Google Doc, and they would be editing in the timeline together. So, and then the other thing is, if you had any media that you preloaded, which I'll show you in a couple of the other ones, that would appear here in your media bin. So I'll go ahead and close, and let's take a look at another one. Let's take a look at a GIF assignment. So if I jumped in here, this assignment is a GIF assignment. Now it looks very similar to the video project one, except that in a GIF, students are going to see when they finish their project that they can't have any media over 45 seconds. So the difference between a GIF and a video is that a GIF, you have to keep your media clips under 45 seconds or you won't be able to export it. Okay, and then I'll select close there. So that's the view a student mode, and you can see all of the different projects that they have access to, what assignments they see, and you can jump in and check out what the description looks like to them. If you've attached any media, what that would look like, and adjust your assignment if you need to. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and exit student view. And you can do that by editing your assignment. So when I said you can go ahead and view it as a student, and if there's something off or you missed something, you can go ahead and edit your assignment. The couple things you cannot do when editing assignment is add or delete media. And that's because if students have media already in use in the timeline, it will remove that media if you remove it from the video editor setup in your assignment designer. The other thing is the project type and participation. The things you can edit are the cover photo, the due date and time, the description, and the name of the project. Okay, and then you select update, and it'll update for you and update for your students. So that is our classes flow. And so now I wanted to take the opportunity to jump over to our teacher account and talk about assignment ideas and the assignment ideas library. So if you've been watching our webinars, or you've attended any sessions or any professional development with WeVideo, or you've talked with your customer success team, or you've just been viewing YouTube content, you'll probably notice that we are promoting this feature pretty strongly. And that's purposeful because we believe that this is a really amazing part of the product that will give you as a teacher access to dozens of pre-created multimedia projects and activities that you can implement with your students right away. So you have the ability to use these projects as is, or you have the ability to customize them and for your context using our assignment designer. So I'm going to go through the whole flow of assigning. And now this is a brand new teacher account. So I'm going to show you the whole flow. If you were a brand new teacher and didn't have a class, didn't have any students in it, what this would look like. So first of all, I'm going to highlight one of our digital citizenship projects, as I mentioned at the top, to show you this flow. And this is our digital citizen superheroes project, in which students will create their very own digital citizen superhero that will explain something about what they are learning in terms of those very important digital citizenship skills. So the components to this project and the components that come with every project are a few things. Now, this project, it doesn't have a few of the things, and I'll jump into something else and show you. But first of all, it's going to come with an example video, a video that's going to do what the project is. It's going to provide you and your students kind of a template for how to complete this activity. So this is the Media Literacy Wizard, and it's just an example of what the superhero project could look like. So all of our assignments will have a sample video. They'll have descriptions. Again, a lot of them are going to have hyperlinks for you to use in your instruction. So this one comes along with our storyboard template, which you can make a copy of and then edit for yourself. You can pass this out to your students and have them complete this before they dig into their creation activities. So I'm going to go ahead and go back then. But that's available for you. Again, we have a GIF example for this one. They watch this video to learn what you'll do in the assignment. So a lot of these assignment ideas come with YouTube content. We'll explain the project. In a visual way. So if students need a visual prompt for this, they have it. There's also text that goes along with this as well. So I'm trying to allow different levels of access to how to complete these assignments. Okay, so I'm going to select back and it'll take me right back to WeVideo to my assignment. The other thing is for teachers, some of these projects have pre-selected media for you. Some of them even have pre-built timelines that you'll be able to view. This particular project does not, but it does have teacher notes available. Excuse me. And it's going to tell you the subject type, the project type that is good for this project, the objectives, and it's going to be always tied to and aligned with ISTE standards for students. It also has a tips section that again contains short bulleted tips and or links to docs that you can use or PDFs that you can use to bolster your instruction of this activity. If you like this activity, you can save it to your class as a draft. If I'm a new teacher and I haven't built any classes, I can create a class that'll just be called new class until I go get it in my classes. But I can save that to class and then close out and go ahead and select another project that is going to have pre-selected media content for. Let's see, I know one that does. So I can show you what those timelines look like, what those starting blocks look like. Okay, here you go. So this is a thinking routines project called I Used to Think, Now I Think. It's a reflection activity, which again, this is another great project to do to contribute to a digital portfolio as a part of Digital Citizenship Week. And in that Wakelet webinar, you'll see me highlight this project. And we've included this in that resource, those resources that I'll share with you today. So here you can see we have pre-selected media for this project. It's just a few stock images that were used to build the starting blocks template. And what I mean by a starting blocks template is that this is gonna have a template for students to get started by simply providing what the project could look like in terms of how they're arranging their content on their timeline and what they're adding there. So you can view that. I like this project a lot. Again, there's a whole bunch of prompts. There's a whole bunch of tips that you can utilize in your instruction to teach this project intentionally. So I'm going to go ahead and also I want to save this to my new class. And then we'll go check out what this looks like in my classroom. So I'm going to close. And I'm going to go to my classes. You'll see it's just new class. I can edit this. If I go back to classes, I can go ahead and click the three-dot menu and edit it and change the name. In the interest of time, we're gonna kind of zoom forward here. So now all of these assignments are in draft form. I can go ahead and edit any of these assignments. I can delete the sample video. If I didn't want the students to have a sample video, I can change the name. I can change the description. I can change the project type. I can make this a team project, and I can add more media to the media bin if I thought that I wanted to add more media to this. And then I can either include or start from a blank timeline for students. Okay. So flexibility for you to contextualize this activity, to build it in the way that's going to be useful for you and your students. And then anything I changed, I'm just going to click update, or if I'm ready to publish it, I can select publish and it will be published. So that is kind of a quick overview of assignment ideas, but assignment ideas in classes go hand in hand, because as students start to complete these, you can review their progress. They function the same way as blank assignments do in terms of how students turn them in terms of how students edit them, in terms of how you give feedback, how you can return them, and now how you can reuse them across multiple classes. So if you're a middle school teacher or a high school teacher or even an elementary school teacher that sees multiple periods or multiple classes of students, and you want to do these digital citizenship superhero projects with all your class periods, you can easily design the project or the assignment and then reuse it and send it to another class. Now you'd have to have another class there, but if I duplicated it here, I could save it as a draft and it'll appear again in my roster. But if you saved it to another class, it would appear there just like this. So reusing assignment, super helpful if I'm a teacher that has multiple class periods and I want to quickly create one assignment and push it out to all my classes. I can do that now by simply reusing that assignment. Okay, so we're going to move on real quick. I'm going to touch on a couple of other components of the next generation editing space. Then I'm going to show you some resources, and then we'll wrap up. Okay, so I'm going to go back over to my admin account because I have many more projects in this account than in that teacher account. And again, projects is a space that's available to everyone. I showed you this at the beginning when we migrated our projects. Before we get here, I wanted to point out really quickly that we brought all of our templates over from Classic. So you now have access to all of the templates that you utilized in Classic if you were somebody that used templates. The way you use this is you just click on it and it's going to open a project for you right away with that template. So this is a Frayer template. If I were to edit this, I could use these examples, or I could change them out for other examples by using my uploads or searching in my videos for different animal videos. And if I wanted to, I could just drag this here and select replace, and then this clip would replace that clip. I could come in here, and then again, I could edit my text here, all directly from the media that was used from the template. And I could also change out the text if I wanted. If I wanted to use a different text for this line, I could drag this down and select replace, and that would replace that text. I'd have to maybe change some things around here and delete to make it look right, but I could do that if I wanted to as well. Come on, delete. Okay, resize it here and manipulate what I needed it to do for me. I could move it around, recenter it there, and click done. So two ways to edit things now, right? From templates or from a blank project. The editing experience is the same regardless of how you choose to do it. We now, as you saw, have that interactive preview window where you can either double click your clips and get to the editing tools this way, or you can click into the different elements of the preview window themselves and access all the different editing tools that way as well. So I'm going to go ahead and click done here, and I'm going to back out. I'm going to click close. Now this is created as a project of mine. If you see here, it's now in my project roster, and I started it from a template. So to start a project from scratch, you just create a project by clicking create a project, or you can do that from this toolbar here, and it offers different kinds of media projects that you can create. So I'm just going to create a project from scratch. And I'll go ahead and dive in. This editor you've seen multiple times across our time today. In the interest of time, I'm not going to go through the different features or how to build a project within the editor as we're focused on this experience today. But this is I'll send you some, we have resources available to teach you how to edit, but just quickly, the project bin is the space where all of your project media for this project or this edit will live. So if you're pulling things over from your uploads, which is your import, anything you've uploaded from your computer, you can drag them onto the timeline and they will appear in your media bin. You can search for videos, drag them here. You can search images, again, drag them onto the timeline. And I'm doing this quickly without any order or thought. You can drag your audio down. You can drag text. And this is all to show you that whatever you put here in terms of the media is going to appear in your project bin. Even if you delete it, it will appear in your project bin as well. So other things to notice is that we have some features here that have been pulled out of our editing tools. So you can add more tracks easily. You can undo. You can add comments here, just like you were able to do in those classes assignments. You can view your audio levels and adjust your audio. And you can view your opacity, which just is a fade in, fade out. And you can access the editing clips from here, add filters, or delete media from here as well. So it's kind of an overview snapshot of the editing experience in Next Generation. You also have the ability, again, to import your own media. You have the ability to record, which gives you access to your webcam screen or dual capture tools. And you have voice recording tools with our narrate functionality. So give this a try, play around in the editor, and get creating. So I'm going to go ahead and close out here and talk about one other thing with projects. So you can collaborate much in the same way you could collaborate in our classic space, and you can do that by utilizing groups. So if I was a teacher, I have to access groups through this button here. And this is going to take me to the create a group feature in which I can add a number of students and other people in my account, like teachers or admins, and create. So I just created a group really quickly. I can use this group to add to collaborative projects in the project section in WeVideo projects in the Next Generation space. So if I create a group as a teacher, like I just did there, if I'm over here in an admin account, I would make those groups by going to my admin panel and selecting groups. And then I could create groups from here. As you see, I already have one, so that I can quickly add collaborators in my projects. So if I navigate back to projects and I select this templated video, maybe I want a group of students to collaborate on a Frayer. I could select edit. I could go up to this little button here and select invite collaborators. And then I could add and search for that group. So Ryan's science class. All right, I see, oops, yep, right there. And then I could add them to this project. So anyone who's a part of that group can now be a collaborator in my shared project. And if I'm a collaborator, I can add media, I can moderate the timeline, I can view their progress, I can see what they're doing. As long as I, as the teacher, am invited to collaborate or have created the project and made my students collaborators. Okay, so that's a great workaround to a collaborative or shared project experience in Classic, is to do it utilizing the collaboration features in Classic by adding groups. And it functions the same way as it does in Teams. So if Jackson and Alice from Ryan's science class were in here together, you would see their little bubbles here. And then in the interest of time, I won't go into that, but they would appear here in the timeline as well. Students who are working in clips actively, you'll see a red bar if you're a collaborator, and that means that you can't edit until that student has clicked out of it. Okay, so I know this is a really quick demo of a lot of these features. We have just a ton of stuff to show off for you, and I really wanted to make sure to hit on every single component that I could with this space. And so if you need to go back, if you need to view something again, please rewatch this video, or make use of the resources that I'm going to share with you in just a few minutes. Okay, so lastly, organizing your projects is simple and easy in NextGen by creating folders. So if I wanted to create folders for projects that I knew I was doing outside of classes for Ryan's science class, I could make a folder and I can move media into that folder by selecting the three dots and selecting move to and move it into Ryan's science class. If I go into Ryan's science class, I can even create folders within this folder itself. It's much like Google Drive in terms of its hierarchical organization, and it really just helps you clean up where your stuff is, okay? So make use of folders to organize your content. Again, projects, this is a makeover for projects, and as you're migrating content over, remember that it's going to appear a little bit differently depending on if you're moving something over with multiple edits or just one edit. It could already be in a folder. It could just be a single edit. So make sure that you pay attention to that. Your uploads here, you have uploads of all of your media that you have uploaded from your computer. You have GIFs and any folders you want to make of your exports. You can do that as well by creating a folder and adding this media to your folder. I was making a cooking video for a friend, so you can see all of that awesome media. And then again, your exports, you can also create folders for your exports by doing that same flow that I showed you on how to create folders for your project. So utilize folders, content. All of your exports are going to be here. All of your uploads are going to be in your uploaded media section, and all of your projects are going to appear in that projects as you move them over from Classic. All your uploads from Classic are going to appear here, and all your exports will appear here as well. Okay, that was a lot of information. So what I want to do now is direct you to a few resources that we have as we wrap up our time together. Please visit and subscribe to our YouTube channel. This is going to give you access to all of those tutorial videos. I've included some in this deck, but our YouTube channel has now, we're streaming webinars there. My guy Stu, who works at WeVideo, you've probably seen his face or heard his voice now at this point, is creating tons of content to help you get acclimated to NextGen, to help you use all of the new features we're rolling out and that will continue to roll out in the coming months ahead of our full release of next generation and our sunsetting of Classic. So please subscribe to our YouTube channel. That's youtube.com/@WeVideo. One other thing I wanted to point out, again, here is the webinar that I did with our friends at Wakelet. It ran last week, but I'm promoting it here. I'm going to put the link in the chat to the collection that came from that, and you'll be able to get access to the YouTube streams as well. If you head over to our YouTube channel, it's also streaming. It's also still there on demand for you. So I encourage you to go check that webinar out and learn all of the different ways that you can cultivate digital citizenship using WeVideo's NextGen editor and NextGen experience and Wakelet. Okay. Also, lastly, we have a bunch of resources that you'll get access to in this deck when you get that follow-up email. There's a ton of support articles, some tutorials with video editing playlists, and then our resources. We have an office hours that you can come to that's open for you, that you can come ask questions at. You can also sign up for our fall webinars, and we are sending monthly marketing emails, so make sure that you are receiving those. And lastly, in these slides, we have some tutorials. There are a bunch of video tutorials that you can click through to access help where you need it in next generation. So we are out of time. We are at the very end here. So I just wanted to wrap up and say thank you so much for attending today's webinar. It went much longer than I thought, but I had a ton of content to share with you. And I hope that you were able to see the power of our NextGen editing experience and that you will try out this space for yourself, migrate those projects, start creating classes, start using assignment ideas, start getting your content organized and really make the best of and make the most out of your WeVideo for Schools account. If you've had questions in the chat, I hope those are continuing to get answered. Again, if you have any questions at all that you weren't able to get answered today, please email us success@wevideo.com. Again, subscribe to our YouTube channel, join our Facebook group. You can also follow me on Twitter if you are on, or X as it's called now. If you're there, I post a lot about WeVideo and can answer any questions you might have. But otherwise, I hope to see you again on our next series of webinars that will start in November. You can head over to our Crowdcast channel and check those out in just a few days. We'll have those new sessions posted. But until then, happy creating. Bye now, everyone.